Ladies and gentlemen and beautiful humans across the world, we are in the good times. If you haven't noticed, Bitcoin is going full on summer mode, moon time, all that weird stuff that crypto heads say. But in reality, assets are back to the point where they are pumping. We've been waiting for this for a long time. This is just the beginning. Today we're going to go through all the details and market update, keep you in check, have you show you how to have the right shoulder on your head. Yeah, how to have your right shoulder on your head. That's exactly what we're going to help you do. Perfect. That sounds exactly like how people feel right now. I have had too much caffeine for the day, and yeah, this is like a little pre-workout caffeine that I like to have. I'm going to record this, and then we're going to head to the gym and pump it out because health is wealth, and that's number one. Crypto is going crazy. Markets are going crazy. You are probably also going crazy, right? There's an energy in the air. There's a buzzing energy that's going on. So in this time, firstly, if you are somebody who has gone through the tough times since the last cycle, congratulations. You have the mindset and the wherewithal to make it in this thing. If you have the patience of years and you have the ability to center yourself like a monk, like just sit there and ohm your way through the most terrible news, so on and so forth, then congratulations. Thank you for sticking it out. You know who you are, okay? If you are somebody who's new and is thinking about joining now and is getting FOMO, we're going to cover that too, okay? Right now, everybody's feeling FOMO. The people who are in are feeling the FOMO that they're not in the XYZ coin that you're seeing pump, the meme coins and all this stuff. The people who weren't in are getting the FOMO that, oh, they missed the train. Excuse me. Pardon me. And everybody's getting FOMO, right? First of all, just remember that social media is a trick. When you go on social media, on Twitter, on all these places, you're going to see posts of people saying, I made this much money. I made this much money. I made $100,000 in a few days putting $100 into a meme coin, right? First of all, you don't even know if that's true. Secondly, you are seeing the one person who did that comparative to the hundreds of thousands of people who lost money in that process. Thirdly, it's easy to then get the feeling of, oh, I should go buy that thing because that is the thing that is making this person money, when the likelihood of you losing all of your money is way higher in that situation, okay? So that's the first thing to look at. Secondly, where we are today doesn't look right. Something's a little off. Okay, Bitcoin's at 67,000. It was at 68,000. It might go to 69,000. Might go even higher than that. This is giving me deja vu of 2013, and I'm going to explain how, right? But before we even go into all this stuff, let's just remember that this is just the beginning. This process is going to play out until somewhere close to the end of 2025, and I'm going to show you exactly how we can see that. And this is just the beginning. So if you're getting the feeling of missing the train and not being on this thing and you want to chase this as a trade, just know this is not the time, okay? The trains are going to leave again and again. There's another 1.5 to 2 years of trains leaving. So make sure you don't step onto a moving train. If you're a beginner, you're going to do this wrong. Now is when you're going to want to get in, and that's totally the wrong thing. If you've been with me for some time, you know exactly what I'm talking about, which there's going to be a time where the markets dump, everything pulls back. At that point, we will have discounts again. We'll buy some solid stuff, or at least that's what I'm doing. You do what you do, okay? So what's actually happened in the markets is we are changing seasons as we speak. We were in spring for the last year or so, for all of 2023. Spring is where it's the best time to plant seeds, but also there's kind of turbulence. It's going sideways for a long period of time. Now we're switching into summer. So this pump is the first indication that we're switching into summer. Summer is the most growth period, the highest growth period. By fall, you want to take a large amount of profits, and by winter, you want to be out. Okay, so 2024 looks like summer. 2025 looks like fall. By 2026. Get one of those Canada Goose jackets, because we are about to head into a winter of all winters by that point. At least that's what the data is showing, okay? Now, the FOMO you're feeling today is exactly like it was in 2013. So let me tell you a little story, okay? I was a wee little lad in me diapers in 2012. And my friend brought me the Bitcoin white paper, right? And I read it and I realized, okay, this looks like it's the future of the internet. But still, it was hard to buy. It was just complicated. I was broke. I was almost homeless at that point. And then in 2013, Bitcoin started to pump. Okay, so this is what it was. Well, first of all, okay, no, this is what we're looking at. Okay, this is when I started in 2012, right around my birthday, and a little while later, the narrative started to hit that this Bitcoin thing is going to save us from the collapse of the banking system. In 2012, we were worried about that. Remember, the world was going to end in 2012. So Bitcoin just starts to pump. It goes from like nothing to insane valuations. Okay, it went from like a few dollars. It was just, I think it was $5 when I started, and of course I didn't buy it. I didn't understand any of it, and I barely had any money. But it pumps out of nowhere. It pumped from like $5 to somewhere like 200 something dollars. Okay, and we were just like, what just happened? Nobody could understand why that happened, right? And right when the excitement and the momentum and everything started to pick up like it is today, where it just went hockey stick on us, Cyprus did the bail-ins, which was the thing that we were waiting for, to say that when that happens, that's what Bitcoin's built to do. That's what it's going to save us from. Bank bail-ins. And that, if you don't know what that is, in 2013, the banks in Cyprus just took the money from people's bank accounts and told them, we need this to like pay off investors, so we are going to give you back worthless stock. So that's a bank bail-in, where the banks just took the money from people in Cyprus. When that happened, we thought Bitcoin was going to just go moon time, and what it did is it actually dumped and it went sideways. And so in this process, and this was for a long period of time, months and months and months, each one of these candles is a week that we're looking at here, right? So it dumped. It pumped out of nowhere. Right when we expected it to actually do the thing that it was supposed to do, it dumped, and then it went sideways. Everybody was confused. A lot of people sold it because they were like, okay, I missed the pump. That was it, And I guess it doesn't do the thing that we were talking about, which is protect us from banks. And then like a year later, less than a year later, was the actual bull run, where it then went from like $100 to $1,200. Right? But by that time, everybody had thought they missed out on the opportunity, and they had ran in and bought it at the top and then sold it at the bottom, and then I missed it again. Right? So I'm getting the same feeling here, that everybody today is saying, look at this. This blue line is a representation of the Bitcoin halvings. Right? My computer is not friendly today. Come on. You can do this. Believe in yourself. All right, Grandpa. We got this. We got this. There we go. We got it. Okay. So if you can tell, I'm excited. It's half the caffeine. It's also half the fact that finally we're making shit tons of money in this process. The halving is going to happen somewhere around here, like April. It's coming up. So everybody is expecting that Bitcoin is going to go crazy after the halving. To me, that feels like the same thing as the Cyprus bank bail-ins. Look at, like, Bitcoin just went bananas and went full parabolic, completely unexpected. Yeah, the fact that the Bitcoin ETF launched was an expected event, and the fact that it went parabolic after expected news event is even more suspicious for me. Because that's not how it happens. It's not that, they release the news, all the retail people come in, and then they get to benefit from the pump from 40,000 to 70,000. That's not how the markets work. More than likely what's happened is this is the best marketing that, BlackRock could have had for themselves, to say, okay, our ETF launches, and look at the best launch ever. And this gets more and more retail investors to run into those ETF products and into crypto itself, and then buy this top. My point is, it is really likely that we are going to see something crazy as a crash, right? I've been saying the whole time, I think Bitcoin is going to make a triple top. I thought it was going to happen later on, but right now it looks like it's making a triple top. It went up here, nobody sold it. It crashed back in 2021. People wish they sold it. It went up to 70,000. We got everybody out at 58,000. Went up to 70,000. Everybody was saying it's going to 100,000. Nobody sold it. It crashed back down. They wish they sold it. Now we're back up to that same level. Nobody's going to sell it, right? And I think we're going to crash back down again. Okay. And it's just this is just my experience of 2013 and how the whole markets work. I think it's going to crash back down again. Now, does that mean that it's done? Absolutely not. Does that mean that the people who don't sell at these levels won't be in profit 2 years down the road? Absolutely not. Okay, I know somebody's going to listen to this and think that I'm saying Bitcoin is going to. My point is absolutely not. This is just the beginning of this whole process playing out. Okay, but it's just suspicious how it's happening. This is not how a healthy market looks. So what I would expect is for it to crash back down again, not back down to like 15 or anything like that. I'd say like 40 would be a good healthy crash. If it goes down to 30, that's great. In that crash process is where I'm going to deploy the last of the cash or the profits that we just pulled out on this pump, okay? Because I don't buy Bitcoin, I buy a bunch of other coins. If you're in the group, you know which ones, and if you have a strategy, you know which ones you have. My point is, right now the euphoria is peaking, the mania is peaking, right? At the same time, on the bigger scale, you can see that one of the ways to know if retail is running in is to go onto Google Trends and search the word Bitcoin. Okay? This is where we are. This was the peak of 2021 bull run. That's basically the 100 line. Today we're at like 22 comparatively. If you go to like all time, this is the peak back in 2017, and now we're at 25. So we're about a quarter way up as far as retail is concerned. What concerns me is I'll tell you the truth. My ex contacted me. She hates crypto, doesn't know anything about crypto. She contacted me talking about crypto, like, what should I do? That's a red flag for me, okay? I have like random people, soccer moms, that are just messaging me and saying, hey, I want to buy crypto now. I'm buying crypto now. What should I do? And I'm like, you should have a plan, love. Like, you're the exit liquidity. And of course, nobody listens to me. Except for you, because you're smart. But that's a red alert for me, okay? And now, of course, the meetings that I've been doing in person, those are going to start to fill out with people who don't know what's going on in the space and want to learn about it. All of those are signals that retail is starting to run in at the wrong time, and there's a lot of people who shouldn't be buying now that are buying now. Now, is this like the end game? No, only about a quarter of the people of the beginners and the retail have woken up to this. I think this time around we'll smash this metric as far as how many people will participate in crypto over the long term. Now, let's really frame this in 3 different time horizons. That'll really help, okay? Let's think about short term, medium term, and long term. Short term is like within the next 6 months. Medium term is within the next year, let's say. Long term is within the next 2 years. That's how I want you to think about it. So what I'm saying is, short term, Bitcoin has gone a little too crazy. So I think within the next 6 months, the healthy thing to happen would be for it to pull back, which means a drop in prices, and for it to reset. Everybody gets shaken out. All these tourists, we call them, which is average people who don't know what they're talking about, get shaken out, and there's discounts in the market, and we buy those, and then we go on the next run. Okay. Medium term, within the next year, we're going to be, I don't know about Bitcoin, because this time around my thesis is that I think Bitcoin is going to trick everybody, and it's just going to keep doing this within these ranges, going probably as high as 80,000 and down to, whatever it's been down to, or it's going to go down to this time. I think Ethereum and the other assets are the play this time around. But my point is, those assets are going to be in a year significantly higher than where they are today. At least that's what I would imagine to happen, right? In the long time frame, in the 2-year time frame, I think everything will be higher. I think even Bitcoin will be higher than where it is today. But I think the other assets are going to be insanely higher. And I'm gonna point out all the details and show you the data of why. If you make it to the end of this. And by the way, if you made it this far, I'll tell you a secret. At the end of this, I'm going to give you some secrets for getting to the end. And I'm going to start doing this on all the videos, where I realize if you are somebody dedicated enough to make it to the end of an hour-long talk, that means you're one of the people who's been truly listening to, you know, all of this energy that I put into this. So I'm going to start giving you secrets, which people who just have the attention span of a hamster are not going to get. That's why I'm telling you this 15 minutes in. Congratulations. So here's my thesis around why this has happened. Yes, Bitcoin has pumped because of ETF flows coming in. That's a no-brainer. But also, those ETF flows are attracting more traditional investors to run in and buy more, right? So it's the mania happening. Same thing's happening with S&P 500. Same thing's happening with Nvidia. People are just running in and buying the tops like they always do, right? That's when the hype happens. But actually, it looks like the amount of liquidity that's flowing in is more than just what the ETF is buying. So here's a couple sources of liquidity that we've seen happening. This is called the reverse repo facility. It's a place where banks park cash with the Fed. This was when it started going up. And that is when markets started to dump, which means money started to be parked at the Fed rather than being in the markets, right? Back in 2021. This is when markets bottomed in 2022. You see, like $2.5 trillion almost was parked there. Therefore, it drained out of the markets. And then as it started to drain back from this facility into the markets went up. Okay, $2.5 trillion is flowed in. This is basically coming back to base levels, which is somewhere around here. Now, right? When that starts to happen, less and less liquidity is going to flow, less and less money is going to flow out of this facility and into the markets. This has been a secret way that the Fed has been printing money and dumping it into the markets without actually printing money in front, right? This was money from the previous cycle that got sponged up into a facility and they drained it out now. And that's why we haven't gone into recession and had all those things that would normally people were predicting would happen. But the point is, this is running out now. So it makes sense that on the tail end of this, you know, a few $100 billion of this starts to flow into risky assets like Bitcoin and takes them into these crazy valuations. At the same time, there's a facility called the Bank Term Funding Program, which was created when Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank collapsed to provide free money to banks and print money effectively and give it to the banks, selective banks. That facility is shutting down on the 11th of March. Okay, so there's two sources of free money and money printing that are shutting off in March. And it's not a coinkydink that assets are, you know, going bananas right before that. As that happens, it's not that on March 11th, as soon as it shuts off, things are going to fall off a cliff. No, but it's a sign that things are starting to get overheated and any healthy market should correct back, scare the shit out of people, which in my, you know, view of the world would be something scary. I don't know what it is. I'm waiting for the next episode of the shit show, but it should be something scary enough that it's the excuse to dump. It's the excuse that the market's dumped. It should also be the excuse for them to be able to print money in some capacity going forward, and we're going to look at all of that. But that's the point, that there's all this money that was flowing in that caused Bitcoin to pump. Everybody's like, oh yeah, ETFs are just going to keep buying forever and ever. Like, you know, traditional investors are some of the least, you know, diamond-handed investors ever. So for them, it's gone up. They also take profits on the way up. And also, you know, when it drops, they're also some of the first people to sell because they tend to be smarter money. So that's the point. Now all of this has happened, and guess what's happened to the fear and greed index? We are in extreme greed, right? We are at levels of greed that we have not seen for a very long period of time. And whenever we get to these levels of greed, you know, there's always a point where people take profits, right? And we're going to go into the details of that. So when you're looking at coins across the board, a lot of coins are getting into overbought territory. So this is on the 24-hour. This is a great way to look at it, by the way. CoinGlass RSI heat map. a lot of the coins are in overbought territory. Now, does that mean that they can't go further? No. Like in this kind of mania, things go bananas and they can stay bananas for an extended period of time. Could be another month, could be another 2 months, who knows, of this mania happening. But they're overbought to some capacity, right? At the same time, altcoin season still hasn't fully kicked off. So remember what happens, like money, liquidity flows into the bond markets, and the bond markets are up here because I don't know why I put them up here, right? The biggest ocean bond markets, the governments are issuing money into it. In this case, they have actually put money into the currency markets, which is the banking system, right? That money has flowed into stocks now, and that as a result, that money then flowed down the risk curve into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has outperformed altcoins in a big way. A lot of altcoins didn't move very much. Some of them did, some of them didn't. Bitcoin has gone on this crazy run. Now that that money has been made in the risk and the riskier part of the curve, which is Bitcoin, now those profits are going to flow down into the rest of the altcoins, and then it's going to flow down into meme coins and shit coins and blah, blah, blah. What we're starting to see now is those altcoins and meme coins starting to pump, right? And I am actually starting to change my mindset on meme coins, because last time I wasn't sure that, they even had any potential. This time around, I'm understanding that actually retail understands meme coins better than they understand other stuff. So in this next time, I am going to take a small risky position on meme coins, because why not? Especially now that it's profits, it's easy to do that. The point is that liquidity is going to flow down to the altcoins. The altcoin season indicator, you can look at this one on Blockchain Center, is a good indicator to look at for the end of this liquidity to flow. So usually between Bitcoin pumping and the altcoins pumping is like a month delay. There's no hard set rule around that, but there should be an altcoin pump that we go through that is going to be a good little pump before things reset. Should reset, I should say. Nobody knows for sure. This cuckoo world, who knows how much money they can just print in and dump in and not follow any market dynamics like has happened now, but it should reset. Things should pull back. But altcoin season looks like it's coming up, okay? So in that process, what we're watching the psychology go nuts, okay? Here is a chart called a Nupal chart. I'm sure you've seen this before if you've been with me for a minute. It's looking at the total psychology of the market. And now we are in the belief stage of the market, okay? And every time we get up to the belief stage, we are starting to peak out. We used to get up to euphoria, but now, already by the belief stage, like in 2019, got to the belief stage, we dumped. 2020, belief stage, dumped. 2021, belief stage, dumped, right? We're back to the belief stage. You see that? Even this last time, belief stage, pulled back, belief stage. If we go into euphoria stage, then that's definitely a dump. But, we're getting close to that point. Now, looking at the dynamics between the long-term holders and short-term holders, this is what we're seeing, right? Long-term holders are the ones who hold longer than 155 days. They're the diamond-handed people. They get up into the belief stage in market peaks. They actually get up all the way up to euphoria, and they can even stay in euphoria for some time for the peaks. Or at least every single peak, they've been able to stay in euphoria for some period of time because, they're euphoric that they're making money, and they're smart enough that they actually wait it out and get to the point of becoming euphoric to make money. But once they become euphoric, they take that money, right? This time around, we're in the belief stage. It's likely that we could even go up into the euphoric stage for the long-term holders. But here's what the short-term holders are feeling, okay? This is your retail people who don't know that this is a game that's being played. The moment they get up into the optimism stage, right? They're fearful. They're capitulating when you should be not selling. Capitulation means like selling and running for the hills. They're fearful when you should be buying. And the moment they become, optimistic and they actually start buying, the market dumps on them, puts them in fear, sends them back into selling. Then they don't buy when they should be buying. And as soon as they become hopeful, it dumps. As soon as they become hopeful, it dumps. Guess what just happened? They just became hopeful. Okay? They just became optimistic. And that's why we're seeing the beginnings of the newbies running into the markets. I've had too much caffeine. Okay? So I'm buzzing. This is not a good sign. Short-term holders are becoming optimistic. And usually that means there's a dump coming up. Now, again, does that mean that this run is done? No. Like, a dump needs to happen. You know how like you go to the bathroom and you have to dump, otherwise you can't eat food, right? Markets are like that too. They have to dump in order for them to actually have the space to actually, run further and eat more money. Now, looking at this whole narrative and this dynamic, here are some of the gifts that I want to give you. I'm sure you've seen this before if you watched the previous stuff, but I'll reiterate this. This is why we're at the foot of the mountain. The next 2 years is going to be so much money printing to pay off the debts that are owed by the central banks that we haven't even truly started that money printing. This was actually just the wave of money printing from the previous cycle, right? So there was all this money that was printed. Then from here, like in 2021, that money started to drain into the reverse repo facility. And, it effectively was held off-site, and now that money, as this has started to come down, the Fed balance sheet has started to come down, that money was released back into the economy to kind of stabilize things. So the money printing still hasn't even started. That has to start after some big excuse that's coming right up after this commercial break. So this money printing, when it kicks off, is when we go off on the true bull run. And that process looks like it's going to go out into 2026. So we are still at the beginning of all of this. That's why this pump of Bitcoin is a little mistimed, because now that everybody's convinced that we're going to go to 100,000 or 200,000 or anything crazy like that, I don't understand where the money is going to come from. Where is the fuel going to come from? A few $1 billion of 10, 20, $30 billion of Bitcoin being bought through an ETF is not enough to take us from the $2.5 trillion market cap to the $10 trillion market cap we're going to go to in this process, right? So that's why the narratives are a little misaligned. Now, the real secret that I'm going to give you for making it this far, for spending 28 minutes and 1 second of your time on this and having the attention span to do that, here's the real secret, okay? This is an analysis of layer 1 blockchains and how undervalued they are, okay? If anything, this is a daily active user way of looking at the blockchains, but my point is, in this next dip, I am going to be making some decent purchases of good layer 1 blockchains that have good usage, that have good fundamentals, okay? My favorite are going to be Near Protocol, because it has a connection to AI. It has 1 million daily active users. It's grown in active users at an insane level, and it's one of the most undervalued blockchains on a fundamental analysis level. Okay? Pro tip. Another one, Polygon. I love Polygon. We're building projects on Polygon, farm sense on Polygon. There's so much happening on there, and it's undervalued, and it's growing. Okay? Third one, Solana. It's actually Solana, Polygon, Near. Those are my 3 favorites, but this information is part of the information that you can't access, that hedge funds have access to. So, like promised, here's the gift. Do with it what you will. If you use this and lose all of your money, remember whose problem it is. Yours. Okay? But at the same time, I'm changing my mind around meme coins. Does that mean I'm going to take all the money and put it into meme coins? No. Does that mean I'm going to, take all the profits and put it into meme coins? No. But putting like 5% of the portfolio into some of the meme coins, I think I'm happy to do that, especially because I'm playing with profits for myself. If you're doing something like that, that's something, make sure you're doing it in a careful manner. You never put more than 10% of your portfolio in something super risky, because if, with meme coins and stuff like that, a 10x is a very likely opportunity that's going to happen in this time. So that means if I put 10% of my money into risky stuff and it's going to 10x, that means that 10% can make me my entire portfolio's worth. So it's a little bit of risk for a lot of returns. And if I lose the 10%, the rest of my portfolio is going to be safe. Okay? But I am coming around to meme coins. There you go. All right. And then finally, I'm going to be going back to Real Vision, doing another talk. We're going to be doing a Real Vision meetup here. Make sure you join. If you're in Bali, we're now I'm doing the talks here at the core. I'm sure now that Bitcoin's pumped, a lot more people will show up. So welcome and show up there. We are going to start to broadcast live in 360 VR spatial imaging from a private members club that is being set up here, and it's going to start somewhere around May. So there's a lot of exciting things coming up. If you got a headset, you can join us like in VR. If you don't have a headset, you can just turn on your phone and actually spin it around so you can see all the stuff. And yeah, just a lot of exciting, fun things coming up. Good times are back. I'm happy that the vast majority of people that have stuck this out are in profit, and they're actually going on this journey and have made it. Not a single person who has stuck it out with us and followed the strategy to the T has lost any of their money. That's huge. Okay? And if you're one of those people, congratulations. And I just want you to know that when you go through the hard times, it makes you stronger, it makes you tougher. And then when the good times come like this, you are one of the people that actually is able to manifest that abundance, is able to manifest the results of that strength in the tough times. If you have people around you who would like to participate in this process, pretty soon I'm going to be launching a gift. I'm going to take my entire process that I've taken clients through and they paid thousands of dollars for. I'm going to make it available for free with the exact document that people followed to be able to go through this stuff, with training, with all that stuff. And I'm going to give it to you. And feel free to share that out to anybody. And if it adds value to their life, then the world is better. So thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for following this far. Keep following along. I'm going to keep doing this where I'll give you little nuggets that cost me a lot of money, but are going to be able to hopefully make you a lot of money at the end of the talks. So make it to the next one. Much love. Enjoy the good times. God bless.